And we're up. For those people watching later, it's boring. For those people that are watching during, a lot more fun. I had to work on a 372. I did a lot of work the other day machining, and I didn't, unfortunately, get to post the videos of me actually working on the pop-up here or on the cylinder head, but I did indeed do that. So, yeah. I got to do a little bit of cleanup here, but first I'm going to bring you up. Here so I can see comments and whatnot. Do that. Figured that people would like a break here from craziness that is the craziness. You know what I mean? Let's see who's here. William Prophet's here. Good. I see 4 people. Who else is here? You doing any milling today, William? Here just for a few. Good. Welcome. This was for the 262, so I'm going to throw that out. 394 junkyard. Good. This 394 is pretty, man. I'll tell you what. There it is again. Man, that looks nice. Look at that nice big opening there. Oh, that's going to be mean. Going to be mean. All right. Put this away here for the most part. I want to get to working on that. On this 372 here, but I got a little bit of cleanup to do. And while we're waiting for people to join, we'll do that. Yeah, I like it too. It's quite a piece. Quite the piece. I got all kinds of randomness too. 372, and I need this right now. Gonna need my Dremel tool. Put this on the charger. That. Wait for a minute. And screws. We'll throw those up there. So the machine going to get cleaned off. That way, do a little port. A little bit of port work. Okay, maybe a lot of port work. So for those guys that haven't seen it yet, SMS and NC20 saying the price of the toolkit again. Yeah. It's funny, huh? You look forward to using that thing. I do too. They're fun. So this is the deck that I did on the head. This is a Chinese head, so this is nothing super special. This is a 52 millimeter Chinese head. Yeah, it's fun to use. It's fun to use. When you have a good tool, you look forward to using it. That's what the tools are. You look forward to using them, which is bad because then you're, you know, you're just, you keep building and building and building. It gets expensive. Hang in there, James. Hey, Nikki. Quit stalling. Yeah, I'm always stalling. So here's the crankcase that I decked. Is it crankshaft with a 66 and a 660? I don't think so. I am not an expert on that, but I don't think so. Unless it's like the early model or whatever, which had M8 instead of M10 or something like that. But I don't. The super early model, no. The later model 066, same as the 660. Pretty sure. Because it had one of them had a smaller PT flywheel side seal. Banzai. A brake cleaner, cleaning out here. Hey, Steve. Yeah, James might only be here for a minute and in and out. Where did my seal driver thingy go? Need those. All right, good thing I got that there. I'm looking for my other seal driver. Hang on, or my seal installer tool. It's over here. All right, it doesn't matter. Just use this. This is a tapered shaft. I still like using the Coke can anyway. A little bit of grease on the can. A little bit of it's here. A little bit of Loctite on this is 518 here on the seal itself. We're going to use 685. If the other side was small, yeah, you might not have the right. You might just be able to change out the flywheel. That may be like a plastic flywheel or something like that. We can take this off and see. So the spring in there is perfectly fine. Okay. seal goes down, you got to make sure you bang it down even, like, you know. These are my crank tools. These are mine. If you have crank tools, you're not allowed to do this to them. Because they're not seal installers. What I look for on the 372s, on the flywheel side, they have this 45 kind of a cup down in. I make sure to put the lip of the seal basically right at the edge of that cup. And once it's pretty much there, gentle like, that's that. And if anybody's wondering, I've never had one of these actually rip a seal. Never, not once, hasn't happened. So it's just not strong enough to rip the rubber. Even if you had a really harsh edge on it, it's simply not strong enough to rip the rubber. So now you can do is take your depth thing here and check. Let's see. .3, 4.06, 4.25, like within a tenth of a millimeter. And just hit this just a tad more. 4.25. .57. I think that's dipping in a little bit. 4.22. 4.28. Yeah, leave it. There's a little bit of a low spot there, but that's not relevant. If you want to, you can get the hats that actually place this down as even as it's going to get. So, I don't know what's going on. Horse's shop ended a little work today. Yep. And you'll hit with a social distance man. Maybe. Right now, they told me to go home today just because my schedule blew out. But the thing with a dentist's office is you're always dealing with stuff. So I don't really know if what really is going to, you just don't know what's going to happen there. The idea of universal precautions, you know what I mean? Where's the shop? What 1928 model 92 Maytag? What? That's a little vintage. That's a lot vintage. Steve, hi from Scotland. Welcome. Stephen Glendinning. Welcome. Now, I don't know who proposed this idea to me, but I do like it. So here's a bushing. This is the clutch side bushing on a 372 XP. And this thing is what actually seals at what I would call a triple point between the bearing, the crank, the bushing. There's a seal there that happens, and it really more or less requires this stupid tiny little O-ring that unfortunately I didn't use for a whole lot of builds because I didn't know it existed. But here's the O-ring. Yet another O-ring that I'm having fun with O-rings lately. Husky likes to use O-rings. But there's your part number. 503 263019. And it's this tiny little stupid O-ring that goes on the crankshaft, and it helps this bushing seal. They used to run washing machines with. Okay. They're so small and so light, you wouldn't hardly know they exist. So it goes right on here. You gently work it down. You can actually use the bushing itself. To make sure it's down. Okay. For some reason the crank is a little bit dirty, so let's fix that. Nikki, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on a lot of O-ring stuff right now. So I'm kind of on a bit of an O-ring kick. I had forgotten about this one. So I don't know how I forgot about it, but I did. So I will indeed work on this for you guys. Don't need this part of the crank to be dirty. So I just did this one. I have a pile of these coming. This is for 262 XP. And it is indeed different than the O-ring on the 266, 268, 272, and it's different than the one that's on the 288. So next thing I need to do is look into this tiny little thing, which I will do. It's really small, yeah. Really, really small. So, yeah, somebody mentioned this idea. So instead of needing you don't need the Coke can trick on this unit, but you do need to put the seal down at the same time as the bushing. So what you do is you put basically the whole chute together here. I don't need this washer there for right now. You make sure all the lips and everything are exactly where you want them to be. You know what I mean? Then this goes right on there. Let me put a little bit of Loctite on here. Again, this is 518. And then you've got your O-ring there. And this seal will go right down just make sure you get it even. And you want it flush with the outer part here. The easiest way to do that is just use, you can hear it. That's it. So now you know you're in, you know you haven't prolapsed the seal. Prolapsing the seal is my number one concern, really, on these. There you have that. Fingers, glad to be here again. Nice work, almost cutting season in Canada. Last Black Cup. Yeah. Yeah. Drain the swamp, putting a 52mm injection 630. Got the jug to fit. Now I need to build a custom spacer for the carb. You do? Why? Just get the 272 carb spacer, no? So I wanted to get these in just to make sure the sides are sealed so that there's no particles that come in this direction and mess up the bearings. Let's clean this up. The inner lip on here tends to get a little sharp, so let me just take and hit that real quick. This. That won't matter a hoot out there. Just might matter to the skirts. I'm using a base gasket on this anyway, so hopefully this won't matter at all. Yeah, Swamp, the 272 space, 272 intake block. Just get a 272 intake block. And then you'll probably so you have a 272 head. Think of it, it's all the same chassis. So if you have a 272 head, then you need a 272 intake block. The HS 260 carburetor, is that what that is? The Tillotson HS 260 carburetor. You need whatever air horn you're going to use. There's the different styles, but and then the carburetor bolts that go all the way through into the cylinder. The 266 and the 630 had an intake block that was separate, similar to a 394, but with the 272, I think it's just carburetor, the long carburetor bolts that go right in there, and those are available. And the only I'm not an expert on that series of saw, but the only reason I know that is because I just did a 630. Speaking of that, where the heck is Mason? Gotta get his butt over here. Bronze connecting rod. That's cool. Bushings, bronze bushings. Yeah, it should be simple. Like don't overcomplicate that at all. All right. Gotta check squish. So this piston is a 45 thousandths pop-up, 52 millimeter aftermarket Chinese piston. There was a question on as to why I machined the crankcase as opposed to machining the head, and the answer is I did both. On this particular set of cylinder and crank, I wanted to do both because I'm dropping it so far that if you do just the head, you're going to really thin out the ears. And also, it's nice to machine the crankcase a bit because if in the future you want to do something, it's already machined a little bit for you, and then you can adjust things with base gaskets and whatnot. Like if I wanted to run an OEM head on here, I might not have to machine the base on the head at all. I could just do the port work. It depends on what you're doing, obviously. But I find it more, I find it better sometimes to machine this because you're not thinning out the ears. And it's also, at least in some senses, easier for me. This is all sharp like crazy, so I gotta clean this all up. Yeah, there's a lot of cleanup to do on this head. Need a gasket first, because the plan was to use a gasket on here. Yeah, what you can do with the gasket too is basically lay out some of your port work, which I can just do right now. Nice thing about these Chinese 52 millimeter heads is a lot. This is already ground out for you. You got a head start, basically. This is all machined out. The lowers are kind of already done for me, as opposed to the 51.4 OEM big bore heads that you need a lot of grinding. Is this for Mason? No, it's for me. I laugh, but Mason, of course, has access to all of the saws in my shed at any given time. Whatever he wants, he gets. Should be a couple of short bolts here. There's somewhere, but I don't see him right now. Oh, doesn't matter. Get fresh. It's okay, man. I got lots of bolts. There are no worries about that. Okay. Oh, didn't use my grease trick here. Let's use the grease. Grease over there. Can't promise that, Mason. You have no idea if you get a leak or not. So Mason, we're basically replicating the other one here, just so you know. That's the idea. Something's tight. Something is binding. There's a considerable rock there. Yikes. I think I see it. See, I actually ground I machined the skirts down, but it still wasn't enough. Something's binding in this poor handpiece. Did I not have new straight handpieces? I forget. I could have sworn I brought a few out. I don't remember. Hopefully it'll be okay for what we're doing here. Because these can be taken apart. See. Nice. Did Marshall show up? Who else is here? Mega's here. Stanley, Marshall, Horse is still here. Cool. Binding up again. See, this motor's fine, but obviously something in here is really binding. I don't know what it is. More straight hand pieces. I don't know why I don't have more of those. I thought I did. Oh well. See if it wants to sit down now. without a gasket. You can see it marking here, there. I took that down too. And also in that corner for some reason. Here. Always seems to be like really dumb stuff that ends up somehow interfering with nice work. Just what the heck? You make things gorgeous. No, not good. That's not good. That's not good. But that doesn't look good. Well, it feels right. Okay. First things first is get this stupid thing to fit properly on the stinking saw without the skirts interfering. Oh, I know what I did. I dropped the skirts the amount I dropped that. That's wrong. I should have dropped the skirts the amount I dropped that plus that. That's the issue. Hey Matt, the last time I was at my dentist. Yeah, I know. Well, that's what we're dealing with. That's why I'm home today. See, still just a little like a orange paint. There. Always clearance issues on these darn things. Now, no rock now. That's frustrating. Like, geez, I thought I clearanced it. I did, but not enough. Because I forgot about the other part of the measurement, essentially. I just put 2 screws in and measuring swish. Shoot, I might have a clearance issue on the crankcase. In there. Might have a clearance issue with the flywheel too. That's not atypical though. No, flywheel doesn't rub. But we do have a head slapper. flywheel is definitely clearance, so we don't have to worry about that.
Matt?
Yeah?
Small boy really needs to do some work.
Alright, I'll be up in a minute.
Side on the swing.
Yep. So right here, I think, rubbing. Not much. A little bit. Well, that's kind of disappointing. Let's see if I can get squish figured out here with a second gasket. I'm going to clearance the head just a little bit here. Where the other? Here. Mm-hmm. Let's see if a second gasket helps. Oh yeah. So how much of a head slapper do we have? Take care, Marshall. So right now I got like 27 thousandths squish. So something indeed is binding somewhere. Man, off by that much. I really need to take off like 10, 12, 13 thousandths off the squish band with sandpaper. Yikes, that's going to take time. So if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. I don't know if I have a 52 millimeter piston that would do that though. Yeah, it's either double gasket, basically run double gasket, or grind some out of the squish band, or grind a little more off the piston. And I don't want to do any more off the piston. .4mm pistons. I guess that's another one way to look at it. Because I've got another kit here. I'd rather not wreck it, but you do what you gotta do. Hey, Pat. Could put some sandpaper on that. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Paper up the head. Shucks. Got a 455 Rancher for free? Okay. Might still be too much. Depends how much money you have to put into it, you know. Some guys run them things for a long time. And it certainly was my, pretty much my first foray into chainsaws. Just gotta be real careful with what you spend, you know. Yeah, I've got bolt for bolt videos if you need them. So, how about... Yeah, so this is JB Quick Weld. This sets up real fast. That's going to go over here. I'm going to put a little bit of weight on it. There. And I'm going to use that to sand the head to give me a little more clearance. And hopefully we can get some clearance and get the port work done this evening. You never know, though. So, as of right now, I wish I could get the port work done, but until that sets up and until I get that head, and I may have to do this a few times, until I get the head properly clearanced, we're not going anywhere on this. So, I gotta go hang out with my little guy for a little bit. So let me go do that. I really wish we got to that right now, but a couple of things held me up. Sorry. So I'll be back. That's the long and the short of it. I'll try to be back later and we can get some port work done. Yeah. So, thanks very much for hanging out, guys. Be safe out there. Everybody stay healthy. And stay home, you know. You don't have to go out. That's that. And good morning. I'm out for a little bit. I'm going to go hang out with my little guy. So, we'll talk to you guys later. I'll be back. Bye.